So a lot of us are still stuck and arrested as a little girl. I may be pretty at 28. I may be pretty at 35. I may be gorgeous at 40. But when they get in home with that man or with that black man, they want to be a little girl. Yeah. Give me what I want. Give me everything. I'm going to throw a tantrum if I don't get it. I'm going to hold from you. I ain't going to get you this. I ain't going to get you that. And we don't talk about that.
Hey there, I'm Ari, your petite but powerful Kingdom teaching professor and entrepreneur. I bring the sass, the laughs, and the serious, let's get real and heal moments without any filters. Now meet my mom, Pastor Dee, the #1 dunamis woman leading our Healing for My Soul movement. As a Kingdom teaching pastor and life coach, she is unapologetically real, raw, and radical, but she's our rock and the voice of wisdom that we all need. And then there's Allison, fierce yet tender, and the voice for many single mothers. She's the silent heartbeat of our family and will be the first to tell you, yeah, life with these two can be crazy, but I got their back and we're in this together. As a dynamic trio, we spearhead the Healing for My Soul movement, sharing the miraculous healing power of God through our journey, truths, and a little humor as we guide women to pursue healing as a lifestyle so they may experience freedom within their life and legacy. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Healing for My Soul podcast as we continue on this journey of healing the Black church. So if you haven't watched episode 1 and 2 of this season 4, you definitely want to go back and watch it because today we are diving into healing the Black woman in the church. Okay. And I think that is so...
It's a lot of them.
A lot.
It's a lot of them.
A lot. Actually, I mean...
It's a lot of us.
Why is it a lot of us? I mean, because honestly, you got more Black women in the church statistically, I believe, than anyone else.
It is. I firmly believe, first of all, people don't understand it begins with the Black woman. And I say that because we are women, we are womb bearers, we are life givers, we are incubators, and we hold people in our hearts. We hold people dear to our hearts. People are centered around our hearts, particularly the Black man. And so you will find more in the Black church, particularly in my era of time, because of what we experienced with the Black man, and we want the Black man to be saved.
In the church with you.
We want them in the church. Lord, if you just save them. Lord, if you just... Now, that's in my era of time.
Yeah.
Now they just talking about the heck with them sometime. But at the end of the day, because of what we experienced and because we didn't give up, we were right there. Our hearts long for them to be right there with God, get God, do God, just get yourself together because of God. Does that make sense?
And I mean, honestly, though, I mean, even when women experience, hurt and pain, the longing for the Black man is still there.
Oh,
right?
It's still good. It's still there.
Especially women of faith. I hear it all the time. I got married because I thought that he was a godly man. If he wasn't a godly man, I want him to find his love for Christ. I mean, really, the everyday Christian woman, I believe her heart bleeds for man.
Our heart bleeds for man regardless of it. Just regardless of it. We can deny it. We can fake the funk. We came out of man. So we have a longing for man. We in pain. We hurt. We don't want to feel that no more. So we have become immune to that. But at the end of the day, deep in our soul, we still have a longing for the Black man.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to talk about this episode, Healing the Black Woman in the Church, because this Healing for My Soul movement, we have women all across the globe who go to their own respective churches in their own states, cities, wherever they live. But there's something in particular that they find here. And they always say, I love my church, I love my pastor, I love where I am, but there's something different about actually being here in the Healing for My Soul movement and what I'm able to get out of, a different teaching, a different sound, a different, voice. What do you think that is? Like, why are women
What do I think it is,
drawn?
or what do I know that it is?
What do you know that it is?
Well, I can only speak because of who I am. I'm a woman. I've been in the Black church, as I stated, all my life. But I also stated on the first episode how I grew up in it. But as a woman, it really, really came about because you don't really understand who you are, but you want to please the Lord.
Yeah.
And so you get married, or even if you ain't married, you have children, you have sex, we want to experience love or however that may look. But as a woman, it just wasn't working the way it was presented to be in the church versus the home. So for me, my home was just like jacked up because he didn't know how to love me. And you all can look at the other episodes. You all know how the story ended. But at the end of the day, my heart was still bleeding because I wanted change. And so for me now, being a leader, being a pastor, I am never, and experience healing most of all, I'm never going to diminish who I am as woman. I think we put so many emphasis on titles that we forget about who we are. And so because of the woman, I wasn't a pastor then, I wasn't that. I just had a heart for God. But when he showed me as the woman, when he showed me who I am as woman, he showed me my identity as woman. And because of who I am as a Black woman, that's why I was getting what I was getting. So I teach as woman. I teach with the feelings. That's why I think women are drawn here, because I'm being real. I'm being real as woman. I don't have time to just sugarcoat it and shove it up because of the scripture. I love the scripture. I love the word, but I also know what I'm feeling as woman. So when I take that, and when I take my experiences, and I take what I've been through, and I take what I know, and I associate it with the word, it illuminates it. And it becomes real now. It's just not the Bible. It becomes real because now I know how to apply me to it. And take the word and apply it to me. So I believe that that's why they're drawn. And I tell them, I said, don't leave your church. I'm not here for nobody to leave their church. But when you walk in that door, I want you to be greater. I want you to be better. And particularly if he's a Black man as a pastor, I want you to be able to get up under that vision and know how to birth it. See, healing keeps us from birthing in the spirit. You know what I'm saying? And if she's a Black woman, couple up with her. But when you healed and somebody else is hurt, it really ain't gonna go together.
No, it isn't gonna go together. And I think
I don't care. How can two walk together except they be agreed?
Yeah. And predominantly, so many women are in the church, arena. And most of the pastors are still men. And I think that there's certain domains that, doesn't matter what your title is. There's certain domains that as a gender, you just don't understand the hits, the pains, the emotions that go through in a woman's body, in a woman's mind, in a woman's soul. And so I think that sometimes you don't have that space to be permitted to be free, and a pastor can even tend to that part of your soul.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question for you. Have you ever been a part of one of our Healing for My Soul challenges? Well, we have so many women who've been there 1 time, 2 times, 14 times, all kinds of times, but it's nothing like being there with you. So if you have never experienced one of our Healing for My Soul challenges that we have 3 days, 5 days, deep topics that go deep within our soul so we can deal with the unresolved conflicts, go to the website right now, and you're going to be a part of this Healing for My Soul movement by joining us on one of our challenges, www.healingformysoulpodcast.com. I can't wait to see you there. All right? Now let's get back to this episode. And that goes back to we putting emphasis on the title, but we got to understand who we are. Either you're man or woman.
Correct.
And it's either that. I ain't gonna get into other stuff, but it's either man or woman.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, you can't identify with me as a woman.
Correct.
See, in our demographics, predominantly at Dunamis Woman, it's more women who are, I would say, seasoned, my age, maybe older, 45 plus. Does that make sense? As opposed to yourself being a millennial or being younger. So we have been subdued to be what the man want us to be. Not what he need us to be. What he want us to be. So I had to break free from that period. And breaking free just from the church. Do you know how persecuted I got, ridiculed I got, crucified I got? Because I'm supposed to stay and be what you want me to be. You understand what I'm saying? And as long as I'm what you want me to be, I'm pleasing God.
Yeah.
And so that's how our minds was trained and developed. And so now we want more. We know that I know that there is more inside of me, more than just being what you want me to be. But now God is showing us who he needs us to be. And he needs us to be that birthing canal. He needs us to be that spiritual womb bearer. He needs us to be, and you can't do that without healing.
Yeah. But even as a young woman, I mean, I just think that there's certain areas, like you you said, in the church is man and woman. In the church is mothers and fathers, right? Despite all the titles and the roles. And I think that even as a young woman and seeing a lot of, my generation get married very young, have children, try to live life for Christ, in the church, they weren't able to be tended to as a woman because, like you say, pastoring is synonymous to parenting.
Correct.
And even though you say, okay, go to this women's ministry outing, go to, this trip or the young millennial thing, it's still things that I'm going through as a woman that I'm not permitted to talk about. It's not on the table for me to discuss. It's just like as a mother. You were very free to talk to Allison and I about sex, about what we feel about certain things that we may go through as a woman in the timing, so that as we got older, if I were to be able to sit in a church or be around a women's ministry because of the mothering that I've had, I'm free to say, okay, so what do you do when you got this going on? What do you do when you're feeling this? What do you do when my mind is racing? I have all these different things.
Yeah.
But that's because in my mothering, I've developed to have that free relationship. So now when I'm talking to another woman, I assume that she's as free as my mother.
And that's true. And I could speak on what you're saying from so many avenues. However, I'm going to stay in this particular lane. One of the things for me, I will always, whether I'm teaching online, whether I'm teaching in person, whether I'm engaging, and that is to create a participatory setting.
Yeah.
I believe that that's key. It's amazing how I can go everywhere else, school, and ask questions, but I can't do it in the church.
Correct.
Because I'm conditioned to just listen to him or her over the pulpit. They got all the answers. They got all the understanding. They got all the wisdom and give it to me, but it's not applied to me. So here at Dunamis Woman in the Healing for My Soul movement, I always teach, I say, it's not education, it's not about what I put in you, it's what I draw out of you.
Yeah.
So the participatory setting always allow you to talk back to me, allow you to express where you are, allow you to come, and I know how to govern a room, I know how to govern an atmosphere, I know how to govern that, but when people can express themselves, now they can learn with specificity. I cannot put a whole full of room of marriages and give you one scripture and tell you to do it that way.
Yeah.
When that man is broken, when that woman is broken, the background, the experiences, the foundation, as you was talked about, was not properly laid.
Correct.
So if you don't know how to be a woman developing into a woman, you don't know how to be a wife he needs.
Yeah.
So a lot of us are still stuck and arrested as a little girl. I may be pretty at 28. I may be pretty at 35. I may be gorgeous at 40. But when they get in home with that man or with that black man, they want to be a little girl.
Yeah.
Give me what I want. Give me everything. I'm going to throw a tantrum if I don't get it. I'm going to hold pussy from you. I ain't going to get you this. I ain't going to get you that. And we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Because when you was 5, you was a beautiful little girl and nobody never trained or taught you. They just gave you everything you wanted. So that mindset has transcended in this era of time into the black church. In my era of time, it was a lot of denial. Deny yourself.
But that's what I'm saying is that because that foundation hasn't been laid, it allows that it causes issues within the church from healing to take place because the people that are facilitating, leading, conversing, whatever, there's not a space for us to be free. There's not a space for us to be able to evolve because the foundation hasn't really been laid. That's what I'm saying.
And a lot of that is because we don't know how to handle it because we're dealing with the same thing ourselves. For instance, black women. The stats are very high of black women who have been molested.
Correct.
That's a very, I don't want to say touchy subject, but it's a very private subject. And you have to create an atmosphere. You have to create a setting. And this is what we do. And I'm not, and there's no comparison. I think everybody has their own, what I say, niche. And my niche is healing. My niche is knowing how to understand, to therapeutically take the word of God, therapeutically go into the domains of your heart and soul, that what you've been harboring, what you've been holding, what you've been feeling that has been repressed in your soul is able to be in a free environment to come up and come out. Because that will kill you. But it's so in the Black church, it's a lot of that because trauma, as we talked about in one season, it goes from generation to generation to generation.
Yeah. And that's my whole, I guess, point of really us talking about healing the Black woman in the church is because truthfully, I do not think that, and this is just my opinion, I do not think that the church is a space for healing to take place. I think that we go to church and it's healing, but I have now seen in my experience, there's a difference between what the church can bring me as a woman and my healing journey can bring me as a woman. And like you said, you don't have women who say, okay, well, leave your church and come here. I believe that we want the church to be everything when the church can't be everything. Hey sis, so I know you're listening to this powerful episode, but let me tell you, there are so many other women that you need to connect with. And this is why I want to invite you to join our Healing for My Soul community. Yes, other women who are on this healing journey that you can be able to learn from, grow from, share your wounds with, share your wins with as you're on your healing journey. So connect to our community just by texting podcast, that's PODCAST, text podcast to 404-737-0580 and get connected with us, and you'll get all the information on how to join our community. Again, that's podcast at 404-737-0580. Now let's get back to the episode.
Right. But what I want, if say for instance, let me just use an example. It's a real example. It's a particular young lady who come to our healing challenge. Mm-hmm. And I have adopted her as one of my spiritual daughters. But she was so free that she was able to express and even open up on a continuum basis to get healing. As a young lady, for 18 months straight, every day, beginning from 7 or 8 years old, she was molested by her stepfather. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine an 8-year-old? Now, she grown now, been married, got kids. But for 18 months straight, and your mother in the other room, and the stepfather is literally, most married folks ain't got sex that much. Most men still trying to get some pussy like that. Yeah, does that make sense from their wife? But that's a sick mind.
Yeah.
And her mother was in the church.
But yeah.
But what I'm saying is, my desire, wherever she goes, is to be healed so she can be the best version of herself for who she is assigned to continue to develop her spiritually. Yeah. I don't care. She could be assigned to the best anointed pastor, preacher, whoever is. But she cannot be what he needs or her needs her to be to help build that vision with all that silent pain that is destroying her. Now she come here, that's fine. But at the end of the day, everybody ain't here.
Yeah.
Not for that. Yeah. So I want you to go to where you're supposed to be. I want you to be the best. Even going home, be the best wife.
But that's what I was going to say is that really, to me, healing starts in the home.
It does.
That's why you have the House of Healing, because it makes me think about, the movie we just watched, Sound of Hope.
Yeah.
And churches on every corner.
Yeah.
And the children needing to be adopted, going through hurt, abuse, rape, all these different things. Mm-hmm. And they could have said, just send them all to church on a Sunday.
Correct.
But really the healing and the work
took place. It's called the work.
The work had to take place in the home.
Yes.
And so they had to rally everyone together to take up this child, even those children, but just imagine if those are adults.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But those are hurting children, but we have hurting adults who are still hurting based upon their childhood and based upon certain things. But the true laboring had to take place in the home.
And the true laboring has to take place with you understanding that I understand as a black mom. See, when I was talking about that story just now, I wasn't feeling it as a pastor.
Correct.
I can't even imagine that happening to you.
Yeah.
And somebody still living to tell about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that I'm just that broken. When I'm going to sit there and know that this man is with my daughter. And my pussy right here. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm right here.
Yeah.
But you sick right there. But that's sickness.
Yeah.
But yet you go and I believe the church don't even know about it.
No.
But at the end of the day, I wasn't laboring with her. It's as not a pastor, more so, but as a mother. Because as a spiritual mother, it takes laboring and it takes hearing her heart. That she grown now with kids, but now she's believing for her legacy. And now she's believing for her husband. Can you imagine that pain transcend into the home? So even as we got deeper and as we got deeper, you married to a man and haven't had intercourse with him in 5 years? See, I hear the stories. I hear the pain, because it's not about, ooh, let me just hear your story. I want you to heal, because if you ain't healed, that black man ain't healed.
Yeah, that's
you understand
so true.
what I'm saying? Because my healing flows through everything. When he enters inside of me, it's a healing power that he's going to experience. Oh, come on now.
They won't let you teach that in the church. They going to kick you out.
Come on now.
They going to kick you out. Because it's true.
This vagina ain't just here just to be in here.
It's true.
It's my holy place. It's my sacred place. So everybody who come out got to be healed, and everybody who come in going to get healed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, and that's just how we got to think. But see, we don't talk about that type of stuff.
No.
But that's just who I am.
But do you think, and this is just me asking, and I don't even know if I want to know your answer to this. Do you think no matter how much we talk about it, and I'm talking about not you and I'm talking about the world, how much we have conversations, how much we try to bring some real raw truth to the forefront to the best of our abilities, do you think really that it will ever change? The church building, the way that we tend to people, this has been going on for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years. Like, do you think that it would ever change?
I believe that change is inevitable, and I believe that change is here, but I believe that change is not for everyone. There's just going to be evil, and that ain't going to change. You can't have good without evil, and you can't have evil without good. But the fact is, it's not about what's happening. It's about who is going to allow it.
Yeah.
Who is going to permit it. Who make the decision that change begins with me.
Change
just don't happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And that's why that's why I asked the question, because I think that a lot of us are sitting, waiting for change to take place and putting our change in the hands of other people, failing to realize that the change.
Let me tell you something. I created change.
Yeah.
I made change. I am the change.
You surely did.
You understand what I'm saying?
You the change, you the shifter, you the creator.
Because they want you to stay.
Yeah.
When I was told in the church, as a black church, that if I left, that my ministry would be cursed. It took what I love, it took my heart and wanted to keep me down and keep me bound. So I told change that change had to be ignited in me. Now, I ain't going to tell y'all what I told the pastor. I ain't going to tell you what I told the husband, but I created change. Does that make sense?
In that room.
I created change.
Yeah.
Because it wants to hold us hostage.
In your mind.
Because if I didn't change, I wouldn't be here right now. If I didn't create the change, you wouldn't be here right now. If I didn't create the change, women all across the globe wouldn't be here. Yeah. So the change is in you, because the change is going to ignite more change in other people. Yeah. It's time to change. Change, first of all, my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to let nobody keep my mind stuck, because my mind is a part of my soul. Now, I want to grip my heart. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. But I'm just that radical person that I got to understand. I can't wait for change.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's the shifting that takes place with women who are coming from the religious mindset in the past that they've experienced, and then having to create and shift change in their home, shift change in their marriage, shift change in their mind, within their own selves. Is I when I'm coaching and I'm talking to the women and Dunamis women who are going through that thing, like, okay, I'm getting some over here, but I'm still doing the same routine over here. But over here, it's not feeding me anymore, but I'm getting more over here.
But
it's
people,
like,
But people are afraid of change because it's going to require something out of you that you don't know about.
And it's scary for them.
It is scary for them. You don't know about, but it's a beautiful. Once you get healed, and as you go through healing, it's a beautiful thing. I could go to a church and speak right now. I ain't standing behind that pulpit. I don't stand behind no pulpit, because that's a custom.
Yeah.
Now, what I come to do is, and that's why they don't ask me to come and church and teach, because at the end of the day, I'm going to create the atmosphere, because it ain't me and you, it's us.
Yeah.
I'm not better than you.
Yeah.
And so when you look at me over that pulpit, you're looking at me as better than. I'm just like you. So when I go and walk the floor and I go walk the audience, I'm letting them know, and I'm speaking, I'm teaching, I'm letting them know this is applying to us.
Yeah, yeah.
And people get scared because now I'm shifting the mindset.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is in your mind. So I come to create the change. Does that make sense?
But that's that pivotal moment where I kind of have to explain to them that this what you're feeling, this fear, this I have to shift, this change, like that's a part of the process.
It's a part of the
process. That's how
you
know that I'm bringing healing to who I am as a Black woman in the church. Like I'm going to church, I'm in the church, I'm doing the routine, but that's how you know the healing is taking place, because now you feel the beckoning of I'm got to change, and if husbands, and some of them, husband at home, sometimes I remember Change Your Life, you said you stay at home. Don't take your butt to church. Lay right in that bed with him. But instead, in our mind, he ain't getting up and going to church. I got to take the kids. He ain't doing this.
And because I said that, he came.
And you told her,
he came.
You stay at home.
He came. Because it ain't about you running the church. Yeah. It's about understanding who you are as the church. And you're the Black woman. And the Black woman has so much power, miraculous power, dunamis power to create change. But we got to be willing to change ourselves. Change your views. Change your traditions. Yeah. I had to change everything. How my mama taught me. How my daddy didn't do me. I had to change so much about me. Yeah. And healing can't take place until you're first willing to change. You can't think that what you're doing is all this and all that and you don't see the change.
Correct.
You're praying, but where's the change? He said, while you're looking for me, I'm looking for you. I was telling some of the ladies in our coaching institute, I said, while you're looking for him to answer your prayer, God is waiting for you to answer his prayer. He won't change. He won't change in your home. He won't change in your money. He won't change. Yeah. He just won't change. But you got to be willing to create the change that you need. And it first starts with your mind. But when your emotions are hurting, when your emotions have been broken, when your disappointment and you've been distorted and you've been abused and misused, you are afraid of the feeling. Hey, you all, I know you've been enjoying these episodes. I know you've been enjoying this podcast. So what I need you to do, I need you to like, I need you to comment, and most of all, I need you to subscribe. That is going to keep you connected with us. That's going to keep me connected with you. That's going to keep us on the same Healing for My Soul movement. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. Well, enough of that. Let's get it going, and let's get back to this episode.
I think we may have to say this for the behind the scenes because I want to really know how, in the state of where you were in church and breaking free, like, how do women hear the sound of knowing I need more? They go through the routine every day, every Sunday, serving, showing up every Wednesday, Bible study. Like, where do you hear the sound, the beckon, the call of like?
It's in you.
Yeah.
It's in you. It's in you. Literally. And this is just the truth. Some people really just don't want change.
Yeah.
Some people love being in that same home, in that same community, in that same, everybody not going to move out the ghetto. Everybody don't want to come off of Section 8. Everybody don't want to turn in their link card. They like convenience. They like the victimization. They like the welfare mentality. They like it. It's easy. It's easy for me to just get something on my link card, and I ain't knocking it because I had to get one at one point, so I sure ain't knocking it. But I know that ain't what I was going to stay. Does that make sense? Yeah. I know that ain't what I was going to do. I used it as a supplement, but that wasn't my destiny. But some people look at it as their destiny because they don't want to put in the work. Some people don't want to put in the work, and that's okay. There is no condemnation in Christ. But when I won't change, I got to put in the work. Does that make sense? And the work first starts within me. So whatever, they hear the sound. It's a sound for some people, and you got to go higher and higher. Some people have gone backwards. Ariel.
Yeah, recidivism.
I was married to a man who didn't want to go higher. They just won't. Go to work. Be up under my arm. Let's kiss. Let's make love all the time. Penis don't pay bills.
That's
and pussy don't pay bills. If it did, we wouldn't be here right now. You got to put in the work. Pills, it don't get you out of debt. You got to put in the work. But it feel good to have pleasure all the time. You got so many Black women got their welfare and they keep having babies because they give them more because they going to have pleasure.
Yeah.
You got to have purpose. And I just want purpose. And they hear the sound when you want purpose. And I believe that we're just here because we show them how to get purpose. Yeah. Because I'm a radical woman of purpose. As a leader is, so shall you be.
Yeah, that's so true.
That's it, bottom line.
Well, if you're listening and you hear the sound, not here on this podcast, but the sound within your own self, the sound within your own soul, we invite you to draw closer, to really learn, become a part of this movement, because it's not about what you hear here. It's about what's actually happening within your home, within your legacy, within your heart, and really what God has for you and the purpose that he has set you out on this earth to do. And so I thank you all for watching. I think that I just will say in closing, you are doing a work that not just as my mother, I think as a woman that many women desire to do, but are so afraid to do and not free to do. And so I know that everyone who comes underneath your auspices, everyone that comes underneath the things that you are teaching them, you're giving them a new life to step out. And that's not an easy mantle to carry. And so for every word of negativity, every word of condemnation, every word of you got to stop, I just thank you, and I think everyone else can thank you for not stopping, because you won't, and she hard-headed, so she ain't. Okay. So I thank you all for watching.
I'm like Harriet Tubman. If I stop now, they just gonna kill me, so I gotta keep going.
Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Healing for My Soul podcast.